We're going to explore the last lesson in Unit 7 today, and then I'm going to have you take the last quiz, and then we'll start our unit review. So we're going to start on page 263 in your activity book. 283 in your activity book today. And we're going to do some more looking at the decimals and how zeros, what the difference zeros makes. So we're going to look at these two tables, insert zeros to the right, insert zeros to the left, and we're going to see how the numbers change. So take a look at number 1. It says, what happens if we insert a 0 to the right of a whole number? So when you have a whole number here in this part, when you add the 0 to the right or insert a 0 to the right, what do you see happening to the number? The number actually changes, right? So we start with 3 and we put a 0 to the right, and now we're going to 30. So when we add a 0 to the right, the whole number increases, right? Or it goes up by a power of 10. So 3 times 10 is 30, and 67 times 10 is 670. So maybe we could just make a note, times 10. So what happens if we insert a 0 to the right of a decimal number? So we have 3/10, and then we have 30/100 here. But we have talked about how this is 3 dimes and this is 30 pennies, and they're worth the same amount of money, right? And we can do the same thing with a whole number with a decimal, 6 7/10. If we add a 0 to the right, it becomes 6 70/100. But it's still the same value, right? $6.70, $6.70. So maybe we wouldn't say something like the value stays the same. Feel free to use your own words here. Write down what you notice. What happens if we insert a 0 to the left of a whole number? So that's looking at this chart here. So when we insert a 0 to the left of this 3, does it change the value? No. If we insert a 0 to the left of the 67, does it change the value? No. So, and it looks funny because we don't do that. So the value stays the same. And now let's look more closely at these decimals. What happens when we insert a 0 to the left of these decimals? So we're going to insert it just after the decimal point. So between the decimal point and the 3, we're going to insert a 0. This goes from 3/10 to 3/100. So this is like 3 dimes, and this is 3 pennies. So that's different, isn't it? And this is 6 7/10, or like $6.70. And now this is $6.07. So that's different. But it's actually less, isn't it? 3 pennies is less than 3/10. So this value is decreasing or going down. It goes down, it gets less. So it's kind of the opposite. Over here, the whole number increases, and over here, the decimal decreases, but over here it stays the same, and over here it stays the same. So it's kind of crisscross with a little opposite. So what do you think about this? Are whole numbers and decimal numbers alike or different when it comes to putting extra zeros? So that's how you're going to look at the similarities and the differences. Write what you think here. Go ahead and pause this to write your answer. And then finally, number 6, do the pairs of numbers below have the same value? Why and why not? So let's just look at the zeros. 6/10 and 6/10. This is what we talked about yesterday. Adding that 0 just makes it look more clear. These are the same. Same value. 25/100 and 25/100. Same value, just has a 0 in the ones place. 9/10 and 9/10 or 90/100. Same value. Now this one we have a 0 on the right. So now I want you to take a minute to explain why they all have the same value. Okay, now you're on your way to do some comparing. So now that I think you can understand the zeros and the decimals and the place values, I think that comparing these decimals will be easy peasy. So I am going to post the answer key for page 284 so that you can check your work after you finish it. And then go ahead and take the quiz in Think Central, quiz 3. All right,